Hey guys, welcome to my second video on moving to LA. Today I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about stuff I've done to make money in the city. There's a lot of different things. I prefer being a freelance person. I mean, you can try to have a full-time job and pursue acting, but that's going to be hard because you need to be able to, on a moment's notice, go to an audition. And that's not easy with a full-time job. It's not necessarily easy with part-time work either, but it's a little bit more flexibility. You can get someone to cover your shift. If you're a server, you can just cancel on other things. So I prefer the freelance life. So when I first moved out here, one thing I did that I definitely recommend is I transferred. So I worked at a restaurant in Wisconsin, where I'm originally from, that I knew I actually got the job because I knew that they had locations in Los Angeles that I might be able to transfer to. Like, it was a plan. So I was able to transfer from that restaurant to a restaurant out here. That I definitely recommend. That's a really smart way to have job security from the get-go. I mean, you have to call ahead in advance and ask them if they will have openings. Usually, if you pick a good place, they'll have multiple locations, so even if one place isn't hiring, maybe another one will be. And with things like restaurants, I feel like they always have turnover, so it'll just be, it should work out pretty well. Except, here's my second point, you definitely should still have 2 to 3 months of expenses set aside for your rent and your food and all of that, because I moved out here under the impression that I would have a job. They told me to just come on in when I got here and they'd do my orientation and I'd start. I got here, I went in, and they said, oh, well, we don't really want to do an orientation for another month and a half. Why? I don't know, but that's what they said. So I had just done a big road trip out here, spent a bunch of money on that, and I was moving in. I had to pay rent for that month, plus the 2 months that my other roommates had already been living there in my apartment. And suddenly I had no money and no income for a month and a half. Whoops, that wasn't good, and that's when I started getting into more credit card debt. So even if you're transferring, have a couple months set aside, already financially done. And I mean, I wasn't like flying with no emergency fund, but I ended up needing to replace my car battery before I came out here, and I had to do a couple other things for my car. So I spent like $400 on that, and I also had owed my sister like $400, and she needed to get her tires replaced, so she needed that money sooner rather than later, which, I mean, I shouldn't have been counting that as part of my emergency fund anyway. I should have just given her the $400 to begin with, but I was trying to, hoard everything I had. Whoops. So yeah, I started off on a pretty bad foot because of that. But I definitely recommend transferring if you can. Next, after I was serving, I did a couple other things to make money. One that I really, really love is proofreading. So I had just been like Googling different ways I could make money from home, doing freelance stuff, etc. And I stumbled upon this book. I can't even remember what it was called, or I'd share it with you guys, but it was actually written by an actress. Maybe someday I'll be able to find it. I'll put it in the link below if I do. In the link below, in the little section below. And it was about how much she has made proofreading and how it's such a great thing because you can do it on set, you can take it with you. So yeah, proofreading. I've been working for 2 different publishers since I moved out here 4 years ago, and that has been a lifesaver, especially in that month and a half. It was a lifesaver to have that. It's not consistent work, definitely, but depending on who you're working for, it could be good pay, it could be bad pay. I mean, there's unfortunately always going to be people who are willing to work for almost no money for the time given in, and which is bizarre to me, but people are willing to do that, so people will always take advantage of that. But you can find reputable publishers who will pay you a fair wage if you keep trying. The way I found my publishers, I seriously just Googled, I think I yellow paged different publishers, and I emailed a ton of them, and 2 of them got back to me. So that's who I work for. And it's great. One of them I don't really love. They don't always pay very quickly. Sometimes they'll wait to pay me until, oh wait, we do need you to still like us because we have another book coming up. So I always have them pay me half up front. And then this past time they got me because they said, oh, this guy is upset because the book is taking too long. Can you get it to us by Monday morning? So I did, and I sent an invoice for it. And then I waited a couple days, and I sent another invoice for it. Then I waited a couple days, and I sent an email like, hey, did you get the invoice? And I haven't heard anything, which is pretty typical of them. So they don't pay very well either. It's less than $1 per page, whereas my other publisher pays me $3.25 per page. So I'm gonna, now that I'm serving, I definitely feel like I can just say, I've had enough. I like to actually be paid for my time without a lot of stress and hassle and having to feel like I'm bombarding you with invoices. You should just pay your invoices. If you don't have enough money for it, you need to be charging people more. And you need to be budgeting because you're running a business. Anyway, that was a tangent. Other things I do, I babysit, and I love it. I found a couple families through care.com. A couple of them, they just had me babysit once or twice, and that was it. Never heard from them again. Another family, I've ended up babysitting for them for a very long time, and for like another family in the neighborhood that knows them. And I mean, at the time, care.com only charged like $8 to do the background check, so that was way worth it. Now I think it's $80, which is a bit bizarre to me that it's increased that much in price. Maybe I'm wrong. But even if it's $80, I have more than made that back with babysitting. I can't even express. I'm so thankful for that family. I'm actually like, one of the families actually gave me this amazing chair. So, because they were getting a new couch, so they didn't need it anymore, and it's beautiful and it's comfy. So both so many hours, so much money, furniture, which is great. I definitely recommend doing that. And care.com also has dog walking or pet sitting opportunities, which are also great. So I definitely recommend that if you like kids and animals. Definitely worth the money. Other things I've done, I also do transcription work that I can do from home. That is another thing. It does not pay very well. So you have to be very determined to make money from it if you are going to. Basically, I just got into a financial position where it's like I needed to make extra money, even if it was $10 a day. I needed that money. While I was on vacation, and well, not vacation, I was like home for Christmas, and it was like, this new year is coming up and I still have no money for next month, and I need money for my rent and all of this stuff. And I stumbled upon mTurk, which is an Amazon affiliate that just has a bunch of random side work, like surveys and stuff like that. I found it really hard to make money off of surveys. Other people say that's the only thing you should do. So it really depends on the person and what sort of stuff I mean, there's different services and stuff you can use to try to optimize your money making on mTurk. You can Google that sort of stuff. None of that really worked for me, but I did find 2 different companies on there that did transcription. mTurk recently upped their usage fee, apparently, or something like that, so they were charging people more to use their service to hire people, and people that didn't want to spend that much started migrating away. So I know the transcription service I use doesn't work with mTurk anymore. That one is called CrowdSurf. I really like it, but again, you have to be really able to self-discipline and focus, otherwise you're not going to make money. And you have to start, they have like promotional levels, so you have to start making really nothing. I at most would make like $25 a day working all day. Now I've been like promoted through the system a little bit, and I can do transcription review, which is basically proofreading again. making sure the text matches what they're saying on the screen and that it's spelled properly and all of that stuff, that I can make $45 a day. Again, working all day, so it doesn't work out to very much money, especially when you consider the fact that taxes aren't taken out. But it's another option if you have that discipline. I really like it. It's good for me. Other people, like my friends, I know they could not do that. They want it easier, faster money, which is fair. But to me, I'm not a social person, so if I can work from home, I love to do that. I mean, I like people. I'm just not good at, I'm socially awkward, basically. Other things I've tried, Postmates is a delivery service that I've tried. There are a bunch of different ones. I don't know, does Grubhub have its own delivery people? And there's like a grocery delivery app that you can work for. There's also like a personal assistant type of website that you can work through. I'm sorry, I don't know all of the names of these things, but you can just Google it and it'll pop up for you. Postmates, that was very hit or miss. My first night doing Postmates, I made like $100 and it was awesome. Other days I would work for hours and only make like $13 because they want you to get the delivery there within an hour. In Los Angeles, 50% of the time, that's just not possible. And sometimes you'll get like something on your phone, like the notification, like, oh, somebody wants an order from this, and it'll be a place way across town. So I don't know why they're sending it to me, but I accepted it. And the person who ordered it lives like 2 blocks away from that place. So they're not going to understand why it takes me over an hour to get their food when they could have just walked over and had it within half an hour. But that's, you know, and so you lose out on a tip because they don't understand that just because they're close to the place doesn't mean the driver is. So that's, I don't know, it's good for some people. Didn't end up working out for me in the long term, but I definitely did it once in a while. But I'm just not sure the gas and the time in traffic really made it worth it. The other thing, there's always Uber and Lyft. I don't even know, does Lyft still even exist? Uber is definitely the winner out here. Uber is a good choice. Again, I'm not a social person, so it's not for me. Plus, my car, I'm not an organized person, so my car is a mess all the time. But it's a great option, definitely, if you want to do something freelance like that where you can choose your hours. That's another good option. So yeah, those are most of the stuff, most of the ideas I had for you guys. Other things that are industry related, if you can, doing PA work is great. It's a great way to meet people and network. It's a lot of work. It's very hard. I've never done PA work in Los Angeles, and I can only imagine that it's that much harder than PA work I did in Wisconsin, because in Wisconsin, you know, everybody's chill, everybody's nice. In LA, that's not always the case. So if you don't know what you're doing, even when you're just a PA, you could have a really bad day. And it's not amazing pay. I think it's minimum wage, and you get paid for sure for 10 hours when you're a PA, despite how long you're there. You're usually going to be there longer before you start making overtime, but who knows. So yeah, that's how the pay for PAs work. The other thing is background work, which a lot of people have in mind when they're moving out here, which is great. I do background work. I haven't been doing it since I started serving, but for the past couple years, that's been a big source of income. It's great if you're non-union. You can do a lot of stuff. I'm going to have a separate video on background work just because there's so much information. But yeah, central casting, signing up there when you move out here is a great idea. But I just want to warn you, May through like mid-August is called hiatus in Los Angeles. A lot of shows go off the air, and so background work has a huge lull. Sometimes people still get work during the lull. Sometimes you get no work. So if you're moving out here in those months, have a backup plan, because I know central casting even takes like a week or 2 off during those months. So just be aware of that, and I'll post another video with a bunch of advice about doing background work in LA, because again, there's a lot of information there. But yeah, those are the ideas I have for working freelance in Los Angeles. If anybody has any other ideas, please comment below to help people out. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And again, yeah, serving is it's a cliche for a reason. It's the best way to make a lot of money. But if you'd rather hustle harder and make less, then that's totally me. It was me until I got the serving job because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But if you don't have debt and that's your personality is not a social one, you don't want to be a server, yeah, definitely check out these other ideas. They could definitely be good for you. All right, thanks so much, you guys. I'll be back with that background video. Thanks.